these are the Dukes of Hazzard cast members that you might not have realized have died. James Best. James Best passed away in 2015 in Hickory, North Carolina, at age 88. Dukes fans will remember him as Sheriff Roscoe P. Coltrane, which was admittedly the most successful role of his career. But just because that was his acting high point doesn't mean he was some kind of spring chicken. His acting career spanned 6 decades. Best landed his first role in 1950 and rounded out his career with his final role in 2013. Before he was Sheriff Coltrane, he was a high-profile film and TV star, appearing in dozens of westerns and TV shows. He made several guest appearances on shows like Rawhide, Bonanza, and Hopalong Cassidy. Besides his western roles, Best also appeared in some of the most iconic TV shows of all time, like The Fugitive, The Twilight Zone, and The Mod Squad. Early in his career, Best landed dramatic roles primarily, so Sheriff Roscoe was a bit of a departure. But Best proved time and again he was a gifted comic actor, and often had his fellow castmates in stitches. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, make sure you give it a like, and be sure to subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Sorrel Book. In 1994, Sorrel Book died in his Sherman Oaks, California home. His most iconic role was that of the nefarious Boss Hogg. The fact that Book was able to transform Boss Hogg into such a cultural icon was even more impressive when you consider the fact that he wasn't anything like his villainous character in real life. Sorrel Book was just your average Joe from Buffalo. He was a straight-up Yankee. Just like his buddy Best, Book had a long and storied career in the industry. He landed his first on-screen credit in 1952. Besides Boss Hogg, Book had quite a few memorable roles. In 1964, he earned himself his first and only Emmy nod for his breathtaking performance on Dr. Kildare. He also had recurring roles in sitcoms like All in the Family and Soap. He also appeared in dozens of films like Slaughterhouse-Five, Freaky Friday, and The Iceman Cometh. Denver Pyle. Denver Pyle took his last breath on Christmas Day, 1997. He was 77 years old. A week before his passing, he received his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. On Dukes of Hazzard, he played Uncle Jesse, the all-wise father figure to our boys Bo and Luke. According to his obituary, Pyle portrayed Uncle Jesse so authentically, his fans would write to him directly, even decades later, telling him they still thought of him as a member of their own families. Early on in his career, Pyle was an in-demand Western actor, appearing in films like The Alamo and Cahill, U.S. Marshal, and TV programs like Bonanza, Gunsmoke, and The Lone Ranger. Even though he primarily was in dramatic roles, he was also a notable comedic actor. On The Andy Griffith Show, he had a recurring role as the bumbling Briscoe Darling. He would also reprise that role on its spin-off series, Gomer Pyle, USMC. Christopher Mayer. Christopher died at the young age of 57 in 2011. As an actor, the black-haired Mayer was best known for replacing the original Luke Duke, played by Tom Wopat, for the majority of the 5th season. At the time, Wopat and John Schneider, the actor behind Bo Duke, couldn't come to an agreement with CBS over their contracts. The network tried to write the two characters off the show. They then replaced them with Mayer and Byron Cherry, respectively, who were brought on to play cousins Coy and Vance Duke. The show tried to explain the situation by saying the Duke brothers had finally left Hazzard County, Georgia, to chase their dreams of becoming NASCAR champions. Mayer and Cherry did their best to fill the hole left by their predecessors, but the viewers weren't buying it, and ratings dropped. CBS eventually agreed to Wopat and Schneider's terms and brought them back for the remaining 4 episodes of the season. Mayer and Cherry had to be written out of the show, but they did voice their characters once again for the short-lived Saturday morning animated series, The Dukes. Peggy Ray. Peggy Ray died in 2011 at age 89. Dukes fans might know her best as Lulu Hogg, wife of Boss Hogg, but she was much more than that. As far as Lulu went, however, her character was pretty much the sole person on the series who could actually intimidate Boss Hogg, and as such, he often hid his illicit criminal activities from her. But despite their regular skirmishes, Boss Hogg and Lulu clearly loved each other deeply. But Peggy's decades-long career included over 100 acting credits. She got her start as a production assistant for MGM before she moved to the Big Apple to pursue acting in 1947. Her first on-screen role was in I Love Lucy in 1952 when she played a nurse. Other notable credits include Rose Burton, cousin of Olivia Walton on The Waltons, and Gene Kelly, the formidable mother-in-law figure on Grace Under Fire. Don Pedro Colley. At the age of 79, Don Pedro Colley died in 2017. On Dukes, you might recall he played Sheriff Big Ed Little, the police chief in the nearby jurisdiction of Chickasaw County. Just like Sheriff Coltrane, Big Ed hated the Duke boys, and he didn't want them stepping foot in his county. But unlike Coltrane, he was an honest man. He was well known for whipping out his signature shotgun every time the Duke boys showed their faces in his territory. Before the Dukes of Hazzard, Colley had already amassed a respectable amount of credits. His best-known roles include that of Gideon on Daniel Boone, the hologram SRT in George Lucas's directorial debut THX 1138, and Ungaro in Beneath the Planet of the Apes. Colley was also a fixture in 1970s blaxploitation films like Black Caesar and Sugar Hill. He was also an avid and talented discus thrower and even tried out for the Summer Olympics in 1960. Now it's time to hear from you. Who was your favorite Dukes of Hazzard character? And did you enjoy the show when Coy and Van